questions I have before you get started is like tell us about you. Tell us about your team. Like, how'd you get into real estate? Like, just give us like the rundown on who you are and kind of what you do.
Definitely. It's let me start with, if I'm going to try to limit messing with my hair. You would think all these months in Zoom, I would stop looking at myself, but do y'all do that? Do you still look at yourself in Zoom? Yes. And anyway, so I came right out of college and got my license in 1999. I got real active in it with new construction. A couple years later, 2006, my husband joined me, and then 2012 we started growing the team, and 2016 brought on first ISA. So at this point we're at about 91 million closed. And this year we're on track for 288 closed units, or families helped, which is what we say. And I've got 3 ISAs, and I only have 6 agents right now. We're hiring another one, but I believe in, for me anyway, less people, less problems. Yeah. Just for me right now, I'm CEO, I'm director of sales, I'm director of ops. Eventually when I hire for those positions, then we can really start growing agent count, but I'm one person right now. And
I hear you. Gosh, that's a lot of units. A lot of times we see a lot of volume or a lot of units, never really kind of both. So I'm pretty excited about that. You seem to have a pretty strong price point. What's your price point out there?
So for buyers, we're at $475, and for sellers, we're at about $550.
Okay, so very strong price points. Definitely all of our Texas markets can support that. So Kelly is a very valid presenter this morning. Similar price points. And definitely it's going to be like what she says in Atlanta is accurate for us here. And I love that. So the way I got to know Kelly, you guys, is Kelly's, she's got 2 agents that were scripting with ours. We script on Tuesdays. If you love seller scripting, we script on Tuesdays. Welcome to join us anytime. It's on Zoom. And Kelly's agents, were scripting with us, and my agents for the first time came back and raved about another agent. It's not that like everybody else weren't, I'm sure they were good, but this was just something different. And so I was like, well, let's bring different in here and hear about it. So the floor is yours, Kelly. Tell us kind of how this started, and then kind of walk us through, if you want, your framework.
Sure. Yeah. So one of the things that I really love to do is script and role play. I love to challenge my agents. I love to be challenged to see if I can be stumped. I believe great salespeople think on their feet, but they're also really, really prepared, so that when they get an objection, or really it's really just when a buyer or a seller expresses how they're really feeling about something or their belief in something, that we're so prepared that we can just truly listen. And I think as agents, we're so busy thinking about what we need to say next and what we should say next that we don't truly listen. So I came up with a formula to handle objections, but I call it the objection handling formula, which is so sexy. I mean, right? We could probably come up with something way better than that, but it's really the framework of a great conversation with your spouse, with your kids, with your colleagues, with your clients, with leads. And so it's a 5-part formula. So, and I don't have slides or anything, so you guys are just going to have to write this down. And then at the end, we'll role play a little bit too, if we've got some time. Okay. All right. So let's say we're talking to a buyer. Okay. And an objection that, I don't know about you guys, but we're getting a lot right now, or we were getting, was, this market's crazy. We don't want to compete. Prices are high. We're just going to wait. I'm sure you guys are getting that too. So the first part of this is you want to acknowledge their question with authenticity. And so 2 ways that I recommend doing that would be to say, depending on what the objection is, it could be, that's an option. Or it could be, you know what, if I were you, I would probably be thinking, feeling, wondering, thinking. So we do that because first, that's an option. So if somebody says to you, Well, we really want to price the house, 600,000, even though your comps say 550. So the average agent's going to jump right in and say, but let's review those comps again and let's da 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 da. But what you have to do first is disarm them and say that's an option. Now, if it's not that's an option situation, then you just want to say, you know what, listen, I hear you, and this is common, or if I were you, I might be feeling the same way. All right, so number two, you've now made them feel comfortable and heard. So, but now you want to dig in, because I don't know about you guys, but what I have found in my experience is that what the initial objection is not typically the real objection. Do you guys get that too?
Absolutely.
It's not. Yeah. And so we've got to make them go deep. And being a human being right now in America, with all of our distractions, our technology, everything else, y'all, people don't give themselves enough space to think about why they really believe something. So, second part of the formula is ask a question so you can really understand what's going on. So if they say, we're going to wait, we don't want to buy when prices are this high, that's an option. Tell me more about that. It's as easy as saying, tell me more about that. Now, the reason why you also do that, not only so you can understand more, but they can understand more about why they feel the way they feel, or why they have this belief that they have. So you're just going to listen now. And you're going to also, so when they say, it just goes against logic to buy when prices are this high, there might be a bubble. I mean, it might pop, right? And we don't want to buy something and then, 2 years later, if we have to sell, we can't sell it because we're upside down. Got it. Talk to me more about this. Where are you seeing this in the market? Where is this coming from? So don't be afraid to go deeper. Okay, so just keep going deep. All right, so number 3. So now you've asked to really understand what's going on. And very often you guys are going to find it's not truly about what they said. I was talking to a seller yesterday, and she said she wanted to downsize. Great. That's awesome. You know what? If I were in your situation and I didn't have kids at home, I'd probably be thinking of downsizing too. Tell me more about that. And see, that's not even an objection. That's like why they're moving. But once we drilled down, it wasn't about downsizing. It was about having a different floor plan so that now that, well, I won't say COVID's over, but now that people are getting back together, she can entertain her entire family and friends in a different type of floor plan. She wanted an open concept floor plan, same size, just different lifestyle. So if I would have taken the downsize and gone in that direction, I never would have realized it's not about that. It's about this feeling of wanting to entertain and be connected with her family again. Does that make sense? All right. So we've asked a question to really understand. Now, okay, going back to objections. Third step, summarize and level shift. Okay. This is the most important part of this formula, the level shift, because what the level shift does is it gets them thinking outside of this narrow kind of 10% of our brain that we all stay in usually, right? So you've got to think of the level shift as opening the door to their brain, opening the door to their mind. And without the level shift, you cannot handle the objection completely and effectively. So a level shift for someone who's told me that they want to wait until the market prices go down. Let's just say prices go down. And then I've dug into that. So a level shift for that might be, have you considered that by waiting, every goal that you've told me for your family is going to be put on hold? So I'm not going into the handle yet. I'm not talking about how prices might keep going up. And I'm really appealing to why they were moving in the first place. And also, I know their disc personality. You have to really kind of feed off that a little bit too. Another one might be, and I do like to start my level shifts with have you considered? I mean, it's just an easy one. It's disarming, it's not confrontational. Here's another one. So especially if they're like a high D or high C, have you considered that by waiting, the same house could cost you 12% more next year, and you could be paying a higher interest rate? Or have you considered that this time next year, the same house will likely still cost you more and put your family in a financial situation that you told me you didn't want to put them in? So all you've done is open the door. The response that you want is silence, and then what? Or why? That's what you want. That's when you know they've opened the door for you, and now they're really ready to hear what you have to say, which goes into the fourth step, which is handle the objection. Now, an average agent goes right to handling the objection because we're so smart. We know what to say, right? I mean, but without the 3 steps before it, you're never going to be as impactful as you possibly could be. So now you're going to handle the objection. You guys know how to do this, right? When they say, what do you mean? You're going to get into, well, whatever it is, however you would handle whatever objection you're getting. And then, so you're handling the objection, you're getting a little feedback from it. The 5th step is create agreement on the next step. So you don't want to just like handle the objection and then let it fall on the floor, right? And let them come up with the next step. No, people want to be led. So you're going to say, tell you what, let's do this. What's another way to, what do I use? Let's agree to do this. Why don't we do this? It's really as simple as those two. This is really effective if you're commission objection. It's like if you're dealing with commission objections and that's the only thing keeping you from getting a listing agreement signed, they need to think about it. Creating agreement on the next steps brings them into it, but you're doing it in a way when you're nodding, you're creating a very simple agreement on the next step that's going to lead them to a, okay. So this is so fun to practice. So that's it. Those are the 5 steps. I mentioned to Adelina that I would love to role play with you guys. We can do a little role playing together for a buyer or seller, depending on how much time we have.
I would love that. I think that's awesome. Like okay. So first of all, like raise your hand if you felt like Kelly was really natural. Does she sound natural, guys? I should see like hands up and nods. Yes. Did you guys feel like she was fake while you were hearing her, or did you feel like she was on your side? Did you guys feel like she was on your side? Me too. Right. Because sometimes, like Kelly, scripts can get a bad rap, right?
We need to change the word. We just say, I don't even like objection handling formula. I think it should just, it's a conversation between 2 humans. It's just a conversation.
Yeah. The person who can have the higher quality conversation is the one who gets to move forward. It's as simple as that. It's a dialogue. So I really appreciate you modeling how beautiful that can look in real life, right? Because it's not like just a Rolodex in our head of like, oh my God, what's the next script, right? Like that may feel like what it is at the beginning when you're brand new, right? But this is what it looks like when you put in the time to get good and level up. Okay, so some of you guys probably have objections. Who is brave enough, who wants to put Kelly on the spot and see if she likes to be stumped? So do you guys want to do that? Who wants to raise their hand and be the guinea pig?
Which, by the way, with this objection handling formula, you're never, ever going to get stumped. Never, ever, ever, because you're listening and you're just reminding them what's important to them, what they said was important, or what their goals are, and how you can help them with that.
Love it. All right. Who's going to take Kelly down positively?
I'll do it.
Yeah.
I can't see who I'm talking with, which is probably fine, but let me go to.
I think if you swipe on your phone, sometimes maybe you will.
I
All
see
right.
it.
Whose voice did I hear? Is that Elizabeth?
Yes.
All right. Hold on. I'm gonna why don't I spotlight you and her? All right, cool. You ready?
All right. So where's Elizabeth? I don't know where she is, but I'll get started. So, all right. So Elizabeth, what's the objection that we're going to be working on? Or, whatever.
Let's do the pricing.
Okay. For listing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. So the issue is what? Tell me what the.
Yeah. I want to list for 700,000, even though comps are at 650.
Got it. Okay. All right. Got it. And then remind me. So at this point, I know why you're moving, right? So just tell me why you're moving.
We have a new house that we're building and need to sell this one to buy that one.
Okay. Got it. All right. So this one's going to be contingent. Your new one's contingent on this one selling.
Yeah.
And why are you what made you want to move to the next one?
And it's a new house and this house is old and I want a new one.
So what will, and I'm doing a little bit of a backstory because we have to know all this. So
Yeah.
what will that, or how many in your family?
Me and 2 kids.
You and 2 kids. Okay. Got it. So, I mean, you're moving into a new house because you want.
Nicer neighborhood, newer area.
Got it. Okay. Newer.
Better
So what
school.
will that do for your family when you move into this nicer home, nicer neighborhood, nicer area? I mean, what do you picture that doing for like the future of your children and you?
Lots of kids for them to play with in the same neighborhood, safer for them to play outside, big yard, community pool.
Got it. Okay. Got it. It sounds like the foundation of your kids' childhood, you understand how that impacts their future, right? And so you sound like an amazing mom and you want to make sure you set them up for success and make sure they have an amazing childhood while they're still at home, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right. So it's Elizabeth?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. All right. So Elizabeth, listen, pricing at 700,000 is absolutely an option. Tell me more about this idea of pricing it at 700.
I just want to get the most out of my house. My neighbor's house sold for that much and mine's much nicer. And I just want to take advantage of this market. It's supposed to be, the best market ever. So I want to make sure to get as much as possible.
Got it. Okay. You know what, Elizabeth, that makes so much sense. And I know because of I know I've gotten to know you and I know the kind of mom that you are, and you want to make sure that you extract as much equity as possible from your home so you can put it in the new one and really set your family up for their future success. And that's one of the reasons why I love working with you. So tell me more though about where you see, so I know that you feel your home is better than your neighbors, obviously. Thinking back to the comparables we looked at, tell me more about where you're getting this value of 700.
Well, like I said, I've been in some of my neighbors' homes that have sold for that much. And I just think mine has a nicer floor plan and it's, I've done upgrades to it myself and it looks just much nicer. And I live on a great street. So I think really I could get what they got.
Got it. Yeah. Well, Elizabeth, I hear what you're saying. Have you considered that by pricing your home at 700,000, that could prevent you and your family from moving forward into this beautiful new home and new neighborhood?
Not really. I think it could sell.
Got it. Yeah. And you know what? Maybe it could. Here's what I'm seeing in the market right now. We're seeing more and more homes come on the market, more and more price reductions. So what happened in the rearview mirror, Elizabeth, truly is in the rearview mirror right now. And what concerns me about us listing your home at 700,000 right now is that we're putting way too much emphasis on the past market that we're coming out of and not enough on what's ahead.
Okay, so you think there's a shift coming, or you think that the market is done? The hot market?
I believe we're at the height of it. And I believe honestly that we're about to see that the height of it was just behind us, Elizabeth. And here's what I'm committed to. My sellers are not going to be stuck. They're not going to be the ones on the sideline saying, oh, I wish I would have known what was coming. I refuse to let any of my clients experience that. And so, Elizabeth, the other thing I will say, no matter what market we're going in, it's impossible to underprice a property. It's absolutely impossible. So here's what I think we should do. Let's go ahead and price it at $650. Okay. That way we can have the absolute most buzz, the absolute most competition coming into your home. And best case scenario, it gets bid up to at least 7, maybe even higher. Okay. And because of all the competitive offers, I'm putting you in a position where you have very little to no risk associated with it too. Because guess what? The more offers we get, the less risk you have. The less risk you have, the more guaranteed you are to get to the closing table. And I know that that's what you want to do, right?
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and list it for $650 and let's see how high up we can drive it.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
I love that. Thank you.
You're welcome. And now here's what I will say. You're going to probably, there are lots of times when you have to go back up to the top of the formula and work your way back down, right? So what I could have done was if she said, well, my neighbor's home is, sold and it's not as good as mine, I might have gone back, got it. You know what? If I were you and I was only looking at my neighbor's home, I probably would think that mine was worth more. I would probably think yours was worth more. Tell me more about this focus you have on your neighbor's home, or tell me more about why your home is better than your whatever it is. And then level shift again. Have you considered the fact that buyers, agents, and appraisers are going to use more than one comparable for your home? So, I mean, again, it's just beautiful. You can go up and down and all around.
Those are great scripts. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Right on. I think we have time for one more. Who else wants to take a stab at it? A different perspective, a different script. Who's got something that they keep hearing over and over and over again? And this is your chance.
There's got to be some buyers.
I mean,
let's do a buyer one. And I will say that the seller script that we just did, guys, you are going to, in our markets, I'm sure similar to yours. Oh, we're entering into a window where in the market where sellers are still going to be looking back here for the last 6 to 12 months. You're going to be looking up here at what's currently happening and what you see coming down the road. And you might be one of the few agents that's actually doing that, because all the other average agents are still back here at the few they sold last year or whatever it was. So you guys are going to have to get we're all really, really, really good at influencing sellers I'm sorry, my text messages keep going off, at influencing sellers to list at the right price, not the back door price.
right on. Right on.
I'll go again if no one else wants to.
Yeah, go.
I actually have one right now that I got kind of mad at yesterday, so I would love to have another person's perspective. I have a client who's looking for himself, but he's also an investor. Okay. And we've already made one offer on a house he loved. And I told him bare minimum, you're going to have to go 20,000 over, and it sold for 35,000 over. So he's already gone through that. So this other house, he loves it. It's listed by a discount broker. So it has crappy pictures. It has no description. The description is literally blank. Been on the market 2 days at $299, which is overpriced for the market, like a little bit. And so there's no offers on it right now. So, right. He's like, okay, like what do I have to offer? And I was like, honestly, I think you'd be okay at list price. It's literally been 2 days, list price, and having the seller pay for closing costs. I think like that's a huge win. And he comes back, I want to offer 275.
Okay. Why so is he going to live in this house?
Yes, this is his house.
Okay, got it. Why is he moving?
He's wanting to move into a house that he can potentially rent out in the future. So in like a popular neighborhood, he does like what Ben teaches us, where, buy a house, live in it for 2 years and keep renting out your old one. So he's ready to rent out his old one and buy a new one.
Okay, got it. And does he have kids or anything?
No, just a girlfriend.
A girlfriend. Okay, got it. So he's really doing this for future wealth, right? Building his portfolio, things like that. Okay, got it. What would happen if he didn't move?
Nothing. He just refinanced his house. And so he's buying this house and an investment property.
Got it. So he pulled the money out of his current house to go buy some more properties. Maybe. Okay.
Yep.
This one might be a little tough because there doesn't seem to be a big motivation there. Like,
right.
Is he really ready, willing, and able to buy in this market? I mean, maybe he shouldn't be buying in this market, but let's appeal to the financial. Now, this is where you need to know some stats too. Do you guys know the most recent statistic for getting the price wrong on a listing?
No.
So one of the things that we study is we study weekly, but each month we go back and look at what is the basically how many homes sold without a price reduction, and what were those stats, and what about the ones that had a price reduction, what were those stats? And typically you can see the penalty for getting it wrong, right? And so in our market, as an example, if you didn't have to reduce your price, you're getting 102% of asking price. And if you had to reduce your price, you're getting like 98% of asking price, right? So it would be helpful to know that. But let's go with building wealth. So, okay. So, hey, what's his name?
Ray.
Okay, got it. Hey, Ray, listen, that's an option for us to come in at 275. Tell me where that strategy is coming from.
Well, there's no other offers. And in this market, all the houses we've seen have gone multiple offers. So there must be something wrong with this one, or, because I already told him about the discount program. He's like, so there's no good pictures and stuff, no offers. So I want to go in and see if I can get a good deal.
Got it. All right. Well, listen, that makes sense. And obviously, me, and I agree with why you're doing this is to build your wealth, right? So of course we want to get the best deal that we can. So have you considered though, that the best deal possible in this market is actually buying it at list price?
Yeah, well, I still think like there's an opportunity since there's no other offers.
All right, let's do another level shift. Okay. Have you considered that coming in $25,000 lower is actually opening the door for other buyers to come in and bid the price up?
Yeah, I know that might happen.
Have you considered that by coming in lower, the likelihood of that happening is pretty great?
Yeah.
Got it. So here's the position I want to put you in. I want to put you in a position where instead of this strategy causing the price of this home to go up and the seller holding out for better offers, let me put you in a position where the seller comes back to you and puts you in control and says, hey, do you want to buy my house? And the best way that we can do that is come in at market value and let me see if I can get some closing costs paid for you, because I think we can both agree that cash out of your pocket is more important than the same amount being mortgaged over 30 years. I mean, you're a smart guy. You understand that, right?
It's much better than when I said, because I got mad at him.
Oh,
listen,
right? Yeah. No, I get it. We have to stay super even. You've got the history of this guy. And I'm fresh.
He literally just texted me another property as you were talking to. So I was like, okay, I'm going to use this.
Yeah. So here's what we're going to do, depending on the disc too. Here's what we're going to do. Let's do this. Here's what we need to do. Here's the plan. We need to go in here and offer what I'm telling you we need to offer. Let me get some closing costs, and let's see if we can go ahead and get the seller committed to you before they get other offers, or before they tweak the price just a little bit and now get multiple offers. And let's see if we can get the seller coming back to you to put you in control, and then you can decide, do you want it?
I like that. Thank you. That's great.
I've got a question, Kelly. As we're wrapping up right now,
Mhm.
how often do you guys script on your team?
For 4 days a week. And so 15 minutes, 3 days a week, and then an hour, 1 day a week.
Okay, so 4 days a week, 15 minutes. What's that framework look like? Because it's 15 minutes is very short.
It is. So we have to be super efficient. The team's gotten really good at coming with, so the first thing we do is, who's got an objection over the last 24 hours, the last couple of days, who got an objection that they struggled with, or who has a situation, and it'll be met with a little bit of silence for about 10 or 15 seconds. And then somebody will say, like Elizabeth did, I do. And then, so we'll take the one that most people are having the issues with, or sometimes it's just one, that nobody else volunteers anything. And then we just break it down. So either two people will role play the formula together. If somebody's like, oh, I just had this, I can help you with this, or I'll do it with them.
I love that. And then what does your 1 hour look like?
The first half of it is typically education. So for example, tomorrow we're going to be really digging in on, well, what we've been digging in on is present pain. I'm a strong believer that you have to get their present pain. So it's not enough that she wanted to move, or whoever it was wanted to move to a new construction house. It wasn't about moving to a new house. It was about the lifestyle that she wanted for her and her family, right? So you've got to dig into that. So the first part is usually education, reminders of the fundamentals of real estate. And then we get into 30 minutes of script and role play.
I love that. I love that. Okay. Any other questions? You guys have 3 minutes. If not, I will be happy to wrap this up.
I have an aha.
Oh,
Brandon?
go ahead, Brandon.
Hey, just Kelly, this is Brandon in San Antonio. Really appreciate the time. I also love objection handling and scripting. I think language and language of agreement is super important. So thank you. And something that I can appreciate that you really did this morning was a lot of those objection handlers, we practice them all the time. And where you really shine on top of that is the nuance of taking them through that algorithm. And just with a few different questions or one extra motivation question, you're really able to get on the same side of the table as the person you're talking to. It was awesome. We're very much appreciated.
Thank you.
I like that.
You know,
Getting on the same side, right? Getting on the same side. That nailed it. Go ahead, Kelly.
I was going to say, now, you heard me keep asking the backstory of the person, right? But what if you don't know the backstory? What if this is a brand new person that you're meeting at an open house and they've said, hey, we're putting our search on hold. We're not going to be moving anytime soon because the market's so crazy or whatever. Then a great asking for more clarification, it really revolves around, tell me why you were thinking of moving in the first place. And so now you're getting into what would that do for your family? What's important about that to you? What would happen if it didn't? So now that you've made this decision to not move, tell me how that's affecting your family over the next year or two while you wait on the market to change. Wow. And then you want to appeal to you want to make them feel great about themselves. So you know what? It sounds like you're really like, it sounds like the well-being of your children or your children's future is incredibly important to you. And so just find a way to make them feel great. Wow. It sounds like you're very financially astute. I can really appreciate that. It sounds like that you've really researched this and thought a lot about it. I can appreciate that. So people, they want a little pat on the shoulder and they want to feel good.
Right on. Casey, I heard your voice.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask, how do you have that motivation conversation, and especially if you need to do it quickly? And so you just answered that question. So thank you for that.
I love how we're tracking so well.
Yeah, you can listen. You can hear their disc too when you ask that, right? because now you're hearing what's important. So for the one who she wanted to move to a different neighborhood, so her kids were in a safer neighborhood with more friends and swim, tennis, stuff like that, she's probably an I or an S, right? So now you can begin to appeal to that and use those little trigger words. And it's just so fun. It's also fun to put all of it together.
I love it. I feel like we need to have Kelly Ann back, Alan, for like trigger word training, because we all love trigger words and all of that stuff. Kelly, you were such a joy to have on this morning. I have to say, you know, like we all have like an idea of what scripts sound like, and often it sounds like a robot. Like we kind of like, I don't know what it is, but people just feel like that's what scripts are, and that's not what they are. It's the highest form of communication, and you have done it so beautifully. I think when we think about someone who models scripts and dialogues and communication at a high level, I think you're going to be like, that's going to be the picture in everybody's dictionary, because you're very strong, and your heart is so big. Like throughout all of this, it's not like just the framework to get to a transaction. It's a framework to get to someone where they want to go.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that about you. Can
you.
You know what, Jem, hold on, Jem, if Jem's not on this call, maybe Sharon, can you tell Jem to send me this recording just right as soon as it pops through so I can send it out to everybody? And Kelly, I will put your contact information for all of our people to be able to reach out to you with referrals. You cover all of the Atlanta area, I assume.
All of Metro Atlanta. Yeah. So in town, outside the perimeter, all of Metro Atlanta. If I don't cover it, I'll also let you know, and I'll put you in touch with who does cover it too. So just anybody in Atlanta, just bring them to me, and then I'll let you know if we can help them or not.
Thank you so much, guys. That was awesome. Kelly, thank you. Next week, we'll see you guys. We have Lucas Sherrodden coming up next week. Lucas is awesome. He owns 9 Keller Williams Market Centers. He is the regional director of the Colorado region. And he is a great speaker. So especially if you're like, I'm feeling like I'm getting maybe a little bit burned out, or maybe you're feeling like, gosh, I don't know that I am super happy with where I've gotten this year, or maybe like, oh, the end of the year is coming up and I got to think about next year all over again. You know, I feel like I'm just in the grind. Might be a really good power up for you to join next week. Lucas is a gifted speaker, and I can't wait to see you guys. Thank you so much, Kelly. Love you guys. Have a good week.
Bye.
Bye.